Hello guys, welcome to day 10 of the Excel online training. Today we'll be talking about conditional formatting. If you recall, a couple of days ago we spoke about conditional statements using the if statement and or and co. So conditional formatting is quite different from conditional statement in the sense that while conditional statements help you to make decision, conditional format helps you to visualize your data. So you can actually have like a range of data and decide that okay, every data that or every row that falls below a particular defined trigger or threshold, highlight all the rows. That's what conditional formatting can do for you. So while conditional statements, deals with cells by cell, comparing cells and things, conditional formatting can help you to visualize your entire data by ensuring that, say, you want to actually format a particular cell based on conditions. That's what conditional formatting will do for you. While conditional statement will help you format a cell, the content of a cell. So you can say, okay, if this cell is equals to yes, do this to this cell. Say if this cell is equals to yes, so let this place be 1 or let it be 2 or vice versa like that. But conditional formatting can help you to shade cells, highlight cells, bolding text, do all sorts of cell level formatting, column level formatting or row level formatting based on a particular content. Okay, so you can compare that. Let's quickly look at an example. Conditional formatting is actually a very wide, it's quite a wide subject. So we'll be looking at examples to basically pick out some of the examples we can make from there. So let's call this sample data. So let's say, let me just drag this down. Okay, so we have 22. Okay, now one thing, let's just take it one by one. Let's once you click on it, you can see the drop down. So these are the base, all the options you can use, to define your conditional formatting. And so here, what if I say I want to highlight all cells? Let's say I want to highlight all cells that are greater than 2. You have greater than 2, or I can say greater than 5. Okay, so all cells that are greater than 5, highlight them with light red fill with dark red text. You have different options like that. So let's say I want to do this and I say okay. Also, I should have highlighted this first. Okay, so 11.5. now let me not do 11.5, let me do 5 and say okay. Can you say so everything greater than 5 gets highlighted automatically? So if you see anything like this, already shades everything greater than 5. So if I change this content of the cell to say 7, immediately it becomes highlighted. Okay, and if I change this one to say 1, can you say it has lost its formatting based on the content? So conditional formatting is constantly looking at the cells, and based on the rules you've defined, it's determining what should be. Okay, the format is here. It's determining what should basically be the format that the cell should have, the kind of formatting it should have. Let's take a look at another example. Okay, we've looked at this. You can also do less than, let's do between. So here I can say every cell that is between 4 to 15. Can you see what happens? So you highlight everything that is between 4. So if it's equals to 4 and between equals to 15, it highlights everything. So if I change this one also to 11, it highlights it because now it's falling between 4 and 15. Hope you understand that. So let's take another example. You can basically say, okay, every cell that is within the top 10, you understand? So if it's within the top 10, let's highlight it. So you pick it, can you see? So if you count the number of cells that are highlighted, you notice that they are actually 10. You have 10 cells highlighted because these are the top 10. So here, if I just put this one 21, this gets highlighted while 13 loses its highlight because it must be top 10. That's what we've defined by it. Do you understand that? Okay, we can also do bottom 10. You can do bottom 10. Then you can do above average. So for example, you're marking student scores and you want to see all the students that are scored above average in the test. Oh no, this is below average. Let me cancel that and do above average. Excuse me. Okay, so come here, say above average. You can see what happens. So basically here you can see no, if you now say, let's say what's the average of this data set. 11.5 is the average, so everything greater than 11.5 gets highlighted. Okay, so if we assume this person's score says 21, he also gets highlighted. Now because the average has shifted, 12 is no longer highlighted. Can you see the average is now 12.4? So it basically constantly looks at the average, and that's the wonderful thing about conditional formatting. Once you've defined the conditional format that some cells should take, even when the data keeps changing, they maintain that conditional formatting, so you can see the highlighted text and things like that. The average is constantly changing, so it readjusts itself to reflect that. Let's take some more complex examples. You've seen part of the things we can do. Okay, let's just take some complex examples of what you can do with conditional format. So I'll come here, I'll create a rule. Okay, now here you can see different types of rules. Okay, from here you can see you can format cells based on their values, like what we've done before. Okay, you can actually format cells that contain a particular content, okay, or between a particular number, between a range of numbers. Can you see, like the example we did the other time? So that's why I'm not doing this, because we've actually taken this as examples. But let's do something more different. We'll be using the formula. Okay, so sometimes you actually have a formula that you want to be analyzed, and you want to paint a cell based on the content of that formula. So let's just take a particular example and look at that. Okay, so I can come here and define a formula to say is equals to say if this is, say, equals to, let me put an empty cell here. Okay, now I've defined a simple formula. Remember when we did conditional statement, we basically said the output of your conditional statement should return a true or a false, and that's the same thing that applies here. So Excel basically analyzes this and wants to ensure that it returns a true or a false. So if it returns a true, what should it do? Then you come here, you do a format, and then you can define what you want it to do. Say, let's say I want it to be filled with, say, purple under Excel, or the content to be highlighted as purple. And then I click OK. I think this was the cell I picked, right? Can you see? Okay, it's I picked. Can you see what happened? Now because this is 1, everything gets highlighted. What if this is 2? Everything gets, everything loses their highlights because it's no longer 1. And what we've defined there is as far as it is 1. That's what we've defined in this rule here. That as far as it is equals to this content, which is 1. Okay, so in case I even change it to say, okay, this is 2. Let's say the content of this is 5. Immediately this changes to 5. Everything gets highlighted also. Do you basically understand? But then you can also do, you can do more than that. Just imagine any kind of formula you actually have. As far as it's able to return a true or a false, then you can use conditional formatting for that. So let's look at this, or let me show you an example. Let's just do, remember, I'm sure you remember our random number function between say 1 and 20. Okay, so random numbers between 1 and 20. Let me paste value so it doesn't keep changing. Okay, now what I want to happen is this cell should get highlighted if the content is actually equals to this. Do you understand that? So this should get highlighted if the content is equals to this. Let's quickly do that. So I pick this, and then I can come here, okay, and say let me delete this row because this row is already there. Okay, so now I can create a new row, okay, and say look here. Now basically what you do is check this if it equals to this. Basically, can you see now, because this is absolute reference, I need to change it. So by the time I keep dragging down my formula, it updates also. Else, when you actually have this dollar sign, it means you are making an absolute reference, not a relative reference. So an absolute reference means that if you keep dragging down the formula, it will maintain that same value. Okay, so I'm saying check this and then format it to be, say, yeah, we use purple the other time, we can say green, just for example's sake. Okay, so if this applies to not to E2, let's change this also. This applies to E2. Okay, so if I want to test it, if I just say 13, it actually works, right? Now if I highlight, I pick the formatter and the format painter, basically just, let me do that again, basically just drags down here. Okay, so what happens? Can you see? Immediately this becomes 3. So what it's doing at this point is it's looking at the corresponding column to it, and if the content are the same, it shades the one here. So you can use conditional formatting for a lot of things. No matter how complex your formula is, you can basically use conditional formatting to manage that, as far as you'll find a way to make it return a true or a false, and then based on that you can make it return a true or a false, and then based on that you can basically just determine how you want to handle it from there. So that's basically how conditional formatting works. You can also use conditional formatting based on other kind of functions. For example, is text function. Let me show you. So let's imagine we have this content here, this cell L5, okay, and I need cell L5, say, to be bold if the content is actually a number. Okay, so what do? I do conditional formatting, and then I create a new row, because there's no rule there before. I create a new row, then I can come here and say, remember our function is num, right? Then you put this there. Okay, say it's num, I think it's actually its number. Okay, then you format, and then you can basically pick your font and say, okay, I want it to be bold, okay, based on that content, and then I click OK. So if I say 1, can you see it goes to bold? But if I say A, can you see A is not bold, right? Because it's not a number. But if I say 45, no, 45 immediately gets bold. Gets bolded, or how do I put that? Because it's actually a number. So the function checks, and immediately it's a number. That function confirms that it's a number. It changes the format of the cell based on the content. So you can do a lot of things with conditional formatting. Make sure you practice this, because I tell you, the things you can do with conditional formatting is they are unimaginable things. Okay, let me quickly show you another example. So I'll clean all this. Let me see. So I'll delete all the rules we have there already. Now, let's say let's just pick random colors: red, blue, green, white, purple, red, gray, white, blue, red, orange, white. Okay, now you can see this, so we can call it colors, and then we can do quickly put a formula to say anywhere you see red or blue, okay, as far as the content is red or blue, just paint it. Say let's paint it to be lemon green or something, basically. So let's come here. What I do is I come here, and then I add that row under formula. Okay, now remember how we did it under conditional formatting when we were handling through when we're handling and statement or statement, the same thing applies here. So basically all you just do is you say is equals to, right? Just say is equals to, or so you can say here, okay, if this is equals to red, can you see that? Equals to, let's just do red and white. Now you know why we are using or. Remember I said one, as far as one of the conditions are filled, one of the condition is true, then the or statement returns here true. As far as one condition is true. Now if all conditions are false, that's the only time it returns false. But as far as one of the conditions, so whether it is red or it is white, now if you put and, it will never work, because for and it basically means that the same content, it has to be red and white at the same time, which is not possible. Otherwise you want to create another cell. So while you're checking this one for red, you're checking this one for white. So this is what we have. Let me remove this absolute reference here. Okay, so red or white, can you see that? Then I can format and say, okay, just give me a feel of this. Let it give me this feel if it's red or white. So I click OK. Can you see what happens? All red and all white cells get highlighted automatically based on that. So yes, you can actually do a lot with this, and I hope you actually take our time to practice it. If you have any question, please feel free to drop it on the YouTube channel, on our Twitter page. Even if it's not related to this particular topic, we'll be glad to look at all Excel topic. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.